To start off this presentation, I would like to tell you about the Holocaust. Many people argued that there was not much that could have been done to stop it because it was happening during the war. But evidence shows that the Holocaust actually started in 1933, 6 years before World War II even began. So how did the people let their fellow citizens turn from this to this? In 1933, the Nazi Party, along with Hitler as their leader, took power in Germany. With the country at a delicate state at that time, it was quickly turned into a dictatorship. Germany had been left bankrupt from the outcome of the Treaty of Versailles and was out for revenge. The Nazi Party took advantage of this and used it as a chance to blame the Jews for it. This sounds completely irrelevant, but the more the people heard of it, the more they began to believe in it. The main goal of the Nazi Party was to rid Germany of all the so-called subhumans. Their plan was to kill every single person who fell within that category. This was called genocide. The Holocaust came in phases. The first was the Nuremberg Laws, which defined who was considered a Jew. It also deprived them of the basic rights such as citizenship, business ownership, and even the right to vote. The idea behind this was to slowly exclude the Jewish from society. The second phase was Kristallnacht, also known as the Night of Broken Glass. It was an organized retaliation against the Jewish people. Encouraged by the Nazi regime, the people smashed the windows of countless Jewish-owned businesses and over 200 synagogues. This was a turning point in the Nazis' plans. This proved just how many people were standing with the Nazi Party's anti-Jewish policy. They segregated the Jewish by throwing them into ghettos, but that was not enough. With the new advances in technology, Hitler and the Nazis were able to come up with a method to commit countless mass murders. The last phase was known as the final solution. Jewish people were sent to either concentration camps for hard labor or extermination camps where they died horrendous deaths in massive gas chambers, disguised as showers. By 1945, 6 million Jews had been murdered. During the Holocaust, Canada only admitted 5,000 Jewish refugees, all the while making immigration laws stricter. The outcome of World War II had as many positive impacts on Canada as it did negative. The Second World War was evoked by the German invasion of Poland. World War I had been a big stepping stone for Canada because it helped its economy grow. Canada chose to enter the war independently from Britain. Britain declared war on Germany September 1, 1939, while Canada declared war on September 9, 1939. While a war is nothing without its army, similar techniques and propaganda used to recruit soldiers in World War I were also present in the adverts from World War II. The only significant changes were that more of the propaganda was targeted towards women. Single women were more desired because they did not have families in need of care. When more soldiers were required, the government resorted to enforcing conscription, even though they promised to no longer use conscripts at the end of World War I. Just like the conscription crisis of World War I, many found excuses to avoid going to fight. Only 2,500 men reached the front lines. Women were also conscripted, not necessarily to fight alongside the men, but to take up reserved occupations such as factory workers and farmers. Many were recruited into the Women's Land Army. Unlike the extravagant ads, the work was tough. In factories, men who performed the same tasks were paid more, but this still gave women a sense of duty and importance. Canada was now in total war. Everyone contributed to helping. Factories were required to manufacture items related to the war, such as various weapons and armor. Prime Minister King sent out regulations of rationing and promoted victory bonds. Along with that, income tax was raised to aid in financing expenses for the war. Before World War II started, unemployment was rising. When World War II began, many jobs opened up. Citizens were needed for the military and civilian goods were to be made. Shortly following the attack on Pearl Harbor, 22,000 Japanese Canadians were taken from their homes and sent to internment camps. They were accused of being spies, and without trial they were sent to camps in the Kootenay region of BC. There were a total of 10 camps. The conditions were hostile and most families were separated. With technology evolving on a brighter note, the Royal Canadian Air Force grew immensely. The invention of radars proved to be very beneficial in the Battle of Britain because it alerted Canadian troops when the enemy was approaching, which gave Canadians an advantage. In the Battle of Britain, Canada defused Germany's plans to take over France. 300,000 civilians escaped from France to England in the Miracle of Dunkirk. The RCAF was successful in taking down 150 German fighter planes, but resulted in the loss of 100 fighter jets and 60 pilots on the Canadian side. During the Blitz attack, the German Luftwaffe mistakenly dropped bombs on the city of London, and in retaliation, the RCAF attacked Berlin. The Blitz attack lasted 57 days, and the British, along with Canadians, came out victorious. D-Day marks the day on which an operation or combat attack is to be initiated. On June 6, 1944, the Allies tried to take over the mainland Europe from Nazis. Canadians were very tactful in their planning for a surprise attack on Germany. They created a diversion where airborne forces attacked the bridges and road crossings. At midnight, the Canadian troops flooded the shores of Normandy. The Germans were taken by surprise, but they still put up quite a fight, with their already built defenses lined along cliffs and hills overlooking the beaches. Though many Canadians died in this bloody battle, it was yet another victory for Canada. With the many tragic losses, along with victories, World War II ended when Germany surrendered on May 8, 1945. This was a definite win for the Allies, but at the cost of 60 million lives.